What's up, dudes? Welcome back to another episode of Rhomas Men's Team. Pretty simple. We are a group of guys helping each other make progress towards each other's goals. If you're new to the channel, awesome and welcome. If you want to help support the channel and join our pro team, head over to rhomasteam.com/pro, where you can contribute to us on a donation basis. We also give you access to exclusive content, mastermind groups, etc., etc. So anyway, hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the team.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Getting through it, Wes, one day at a time. How about you, man?
All good, man. Rhomas Men's Team, pretty simple. We're here to make or help each other make progress towards our goals. What's troubling you, sir? You seem like you're going through it. If you don't mind me chatting about it.
I got a birthday coming up on Wednesday, man. 47. I remain the elder of this group. And
yeah,
and that might have something to do with it, man. That might have something to do with it, you know. Birthdays are, in a good way, they're a time to take stock of the year that's been. And like in a bad way, they can be kind of like anchors, like, like they can be triggers for kind of cliche, that cliche kind of waterfall of negative emotions where it's like everyone else is succeeding and I'm not. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me that the birthday sometimes brings up those feelings. But yeah, that might be something I'm going through.
Let's can we chat about it?
Please.
So I would be curious. Well, let me say this first. And this is also from my own experience, that the amount of success, I'm going to assume for a male, there's probably a large slice of that pie has to do with financial. Is that correct or no?
Oh yeah, huge.
Yeah.
It's like everything but
It's
the
like
candles,
the
basically.
yeah.
And I was talking it over with my AA sponsor yesterday, and it's like, I'm looking, like, the problem is that I'm looking at it like it's a glass half empty, right? Because, like, do I have a business? Yes. Do I sell art? Yes. Do I have clients? Yes. Do I have an employee? Yes. Have I sold art, in the last, month, 3 months, 4 months, year? Yes. But it's that last part, like, what's up, Phil, coming in from his underground Bond villain lair.
What's up, Phil?
What's up? I didn't know I was on camera. How's it going?
And actually, you know what? I'm kind of, I'm glad Phil's here, because it's like, it's the kind of things we were trying to talk Phil out of when he had his game, right? Because Wes, so do you know what I mean? Like, you would be the kind of person who reminds me that I have all these layers stacked up, but it's those last couple of layers that I have not achieved, which is like lots of clients, lots of profitability, that I'm really grading myself on, that I'm giving myself a failing grade on, because that lack of lots of clients and profitability creates a lack of cash flow, right? So for me anyway, and so I am selling art. I do have a business. I have a lot to be grateful for. I have loyal clients who love the service I provide, but I don't have the cash flow that makes me feel successful.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. I would say this, and I've noticed this now that I've got to watch my peers like go through the first 15 years of their career. The successful ones that I know, it was more of an avalanche than it was a steady stream of build. And I don't want to actually admit that. I part of me wants to subscribe to the, hey, no, just like brick by brick, And then all of a sudden, because of that one stacking on the other and the other and the other, then you have a whole house, 30 years from that point. But I can say I've noticed, excuse me, a pretty big pattern financially where it wasn't that brick by brick, where yes, it was brick by brick from an action standpoint, but from a financial rewards standpoint, it was drip, 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 and then avalanche. And I could name, Ray, you and I know of several people like that. I can name a dozen other people like that. I have noticed though that the people who don't get that avalanche tend to change a lot. They're constantly changing the game. So before they get to that avalanche, they get fed up, and then they go and they become whatever else. And I do think for a certain period of time that's important, but then eventually, if you want that avalanche, you have to stay with the game.
Yeah, and I think that if I'm going to change anything, I think I just have to add or improve existing skills. So like, what do? I sell art. So if I think it's not working right now, I think that doesn't mean I have to learn how to be a pastry chef, but I could add skills in terms of selling, right? Which are transferable to other industries or like verticals, but is also immediately relevant, right? And and I guess Wes, it's just like like I said, it's a cash flow problem, because it's like I wish it weren't so, man, but like my self-esteem is like directly tied to how much food I have in my stomach and how much money I have in my bank account, and I hate it, man. Like why did I kind of drift through a humanities degree at university if I was just gonna be such a base creature that like literally my self-esteem is directly tied to how much food I have in my stomach and how much money I have in my bank account.
Yeah,
have we not evolved at all in the 10,000 years of like civilization, Wes?
Yeah, this is where I think MFG would really have some good perspective on this, and I think maybe he and I could have a good healthy debate on it. I don't want it to be like how you just said either, but it's kind of like telling the heterosexual man to not care if a woman he thinks is attractive rejects him. I mean, I'm sure there are guys who have reached that pinnacle of a Zen mindset to where they're completely untouched.
You're not one of them, though.
But no, I'm not. It's just there are certain
the sting still occurs when you can tell them there's lots of fish in the sea, right? But that stinger still has venom, right? And it burns.
Yeah. I mean, there are certain things. Money for me, right? The same for you. It seems like is there's still a sense of like a center of gravity with a handful of topics that I don't know that I'm going to be able to ever shake. And by the way, I don't think that I want to. But Phil, let me throw it over to you. What's your perspective, bud?
And let us know how the fisherman job's going, buddy.
Hey, Ray, let us know how the fucking comedy job's going, buddy. Can you get up on that stage yet, dude? You love telling jokes. Get up on that stage, man. Sure, they'll love you up there.
A couple more gray hairs, and you're going to be a fucking like a very much in demand as a Ernest Hemingway impersonator.
This is why I have you guys on here. I love the back and forth.
Dude, Ray, you're just wasting. Dude, if only you were in front of a 6,000 person auditorium, dude, you'd be fucking. They'd be killing it.
I couldn't do that in front of 6 people, man, without crapping my pants.
So, yeah, I don't know. I read that book about habits a while ago, or a little bit ago, Atomic Habits, and he was saying you shouldn't care about your bank account. You should care about your money velocity, and you shouldn't care about any values. You should care about the velocity values. It's hard to
I like that.
feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard.
So Phil, as always, I think it's a great contribution. I definitely think that's an important distinction. Um, I do like the quote of like happiness is progress. I'm not sure if Tony Robbins created that, but somebody said it. I think it was him. And I really like that idea. And I have noticed that pattern as well, is that if you look at your balance sheet, it doesn't necessarily matter as much as the velocity or the trajectory of that balance sheet. So
Yeah.
I think there's something with static numbers as well. So Phil, I think that was a great distinction, and I completely agree with it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And it's like, I think if I remember from the first 4 chapters, at which point I bailed on the book, it's like, you shouldn't be concerned about the actual balance. You should be concerned about the trajectory. Right.
Yeah, he said that if you increase by 1% every day, since that compounds, it's the 37 times increase over the course of a year if you do that every day. But am I disconnected from you guys? Am I still connected?
No, you're good.
You are, man, 100%.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't actually do that stuff in my life. I'm not consistent with anything, and it's pissing me off tremendously right now. So,
Yeah, I know what you mean, dude. And first of all, I'm great. Dude, I'm in a great mood all of a sudden. Just kind of getting in a roast battle with Phil for just a few seconds there.
Let's get more jokes, right? Come on, let's get the jokes flowing, dude. Right. You're a joke man.
I mean, okay, I suffer from depression, like not as bad as Phil does. For example, if I give you a Star Wars metaphor, like I'm that tiny squeaky guy of depression, and Phil is the Jabba the Hutt, right? So Phil is like depression, rah, rah, and I'm like, right? So just in terms of like ratios, that was a bit niche. I mean, it's an all-male audience.
No, I know exactly who you're talking about. You're saying you are literally the most hateable character in the entire Star Wars universe. I hate that character. That's the only reason I know exactly who he is.
Dude, I'm worse than Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, you said Jar Jar? Okay, sorry. I was thinking of someone else.
No.
Oh, Jar. Okay, yeah. The little rat, little ferret. All right. Anyway, let's get back on topic here.
Yeah. So the core.
First of all, I would just like to say, to get it back on topic. So yes, I think part of what's happening is like, I think my depression is like ratcheting up from a medical perspective because the weather's starting to get nice. I'm getting a lot of sunshine. I'm getting some exercise, but I do have like one sale a month for the past since the start of the year, which is usually a slow time. So I have all these things that should be pumping me up, and yet I'm not pumped up. So I think that either because of the separation and divorce anxiety or external factors, or just my internal chemistry, I'm feeling depressed. And so that is a reality that I'd like. So when that starts happening, like my first reaction is not, let's up the medication, let's up the exercise, right? The first reaction is the world sucks. And I cannot win, and just kind of like isolate, right? So those are the feelings that I get if I'm stuck in my own head these days. Now, coming on here, talking to Phil, and to a lesser extent, Wes, talking to you, like instantly takes me out of that. Like an AA meeting instantly takes me out of that. And so I guess that's the power of the team, right? To get that reminder that, like to interrupt that signal that I'm a failure and I'm not succeeding at this because I have gotten 75% of the way to building a business and I'm not there yet. I have gotten 75% of the way of learning how to play paddleball or jujitsu and I'm not there yet, right? Like a team like this reminds me that like you are a success if you go from 0 to 75.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, you are on the like you are on the daily success highway, even though you're not at your destination yet.
100%. And the reason I want to bring Jared on, what's up, Jared?
How's it going, guys?
Because of his business, and I know, Ray, this is going to sound so cliche, but Jared, from your experience, how often should one's training be contingent on that person's emotional state for the day, within reason?
Hey dudes, sorry for the interruption here. Just wanted to let you know, if you want to join our pro team, go to romasteam.com/pro. You can help support the channel. You will also get access to exclusive content, masterminds, one-on-one sessions, etc. All right, back to the episode.
No, I don't think, unless it's like very bad. Like I have to train through things, like the things that make you feel better, like you got to do it. Like you were saying, when you go to an AA meeting, talking to the guys here, like when I go to the gym and talk to people, like everything kind of goes out the window. The main thing that I tell people as far as in the jiu-jitsu area is I never regret a single day that I've gone to the gym. I've regretted every day I've skipped, especially when I knew I was skipping. There are some days where you're sore or you really are having a bad day and you're like, I can't do it. But in general, like you got to do those things, I think.
And that's exactly the coloring that I was looking for, of like, I know it sounds so cliche of like, mood follows action, not the other way around. But those little one-liners can really help, especially if we're reminded of them. Like, I've never regretted a day that I went to the gym, but I regretted a bunch that I didn't. Phil, let me throw it over to you, buddy. You were going to say something.
Well, yeah, something I was thinking about recently, because a friend of mine who's a programmer just offered, he said he has some free time, and he offered to, he said, do you want to make some games together? So that, I hate programming. I only write code because I have to make games on my own. And so, I was thinking for the last couple of days, like, what kind of games would I make if I didn't have to care about the annoyance of coding them? And it really kind of bummed me out that, like, I know this is just kind of a mood that I'm in recently, because I've been really just like way too online, watching YouTube and Twitter constantly. And that's super, super like just destroyed my inspiration and my like creative drive and stuff, which it always does. Because those places are such like black holes of humanity. And like, that's why I'm like this. But like, I was really frustrated with like how hard it is for me to get to an idea. Like, because, basically my point is like, two different things I heard recently. Like this one thing, like Norm Macdonald said, I can't remember exactly what he said, but his point was like, like what if you could just try to trick yourself into the mindset of like an old man? Like, what does an old man care about? Like things that matter. They care about things that matter. They don't care about stupid bullshit, right? Like, if you could just get over all of these like insecure, so like what my point is kind of is like, we have all these insecurities. Like I'm like paralyzed by insecurities all day long. Like, oh, it's going to be hard and it's going to be frustrating as I don't know what to do. And there's all these decisions to make, but it's like, even if you could literally become like a Sims character, like the video game where you just right click on them and you just say, go cook. Like, I don't care what your emotions are, go cook some food right now. If you could just do that with yourself, like just give yourself commands without any emotional blocks, there still is, you're not just going to be a Jedi instantly. There still is so there's like two different levels. There's all the blocks, but then there's the actual like difficulty of doing the thing itself, which is itself a massive quest to go through, a massive journey to go through, right? Of like actually honing your skills of whatever thing you're trying to do, right? There's all these skills involved with whatever you're trying to do. And if you can get past all those emotional blocks, you can try to you're then presented with the next level of problems, which is like actually living your life, right? That's like a separate set of problems. Like, it's like the same thing as how people who get really wealthy, like spontaneously, like on accident, like winning the lottery, or they make a lot of money in their business, or like they didn't really expect it or whatever, they realize like everyone says, like money doesn't fix your problems, right? Like after you have all this money, then you still have to actually live your life, And so it's like, I feel like, I don't know, I've just been thinking about that recently, because it's like, that's what happened with this guy offering to do code for me. It's like, if I could just make whatever game I want without having to do the grunt work that I hate, what would I make? And it's like, it's somewhat disappointing to me how I don't have an immediate answer to that question, because that's a raw skill deficiency. If that makes sense. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, if that translates to your guys' fields of expertise, but like, if you could remove all of the blockers, there still is the actual challenges of doing the things. Does that make sense?
No, I 100% agree, Phil. And I just like, yeah, like, and it's all, and for me, it's like mood. It's like the mood is the determining factor in a way where it's like the binary that comes to mind is like I have to do versus I get to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And
think about like Ray, like if you could think of like any like like physical challenge, like you don't have, like, imagine you had infinite money right now, and imagine you had infinite reach right now. Like, that's the thing, is that's another thing about this too, is that a lot of people who create content online always think that their lack of reach is why they don't have an audience. Like, you always see these people in like YouTube comments being like, "Hey guys, please watch my channel." They're like trying to get, it's like, you don't have an audience because you suck at making videos. If you made good videos, people would watch them, because most YouTube is fucking garbage. All right, make good videos and people will be very happy to watch them. But you can't. You don't know how to. So start doing that. Start getting better at the actual thing.
Yeah, Phil. If I had infinite money and infinite reach, I would probably be doing the same job that I'm doing right now, right? Like, so in a way, I'm griping about not having enough clients and not succeeding at this, but this is what I want to be doing. And so I like it. What you're saying is absolutely like relevant to me. Like, I don't need a $50,000 float in order to manage my business. That's not the problem. I need to work harder at selling art and communicating and reaching out and cold calling and doing my job better. Right. Because that's like, if I had infinite reach and infinite money, that would give me the relief and like the cash flow to do my job better. Well, why can't I just do my job better today? Right? There is no.
And like what, I don't know what happened to Ray. You muted your mic, but I feel like, sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but I was going to say something along the lines of like, I feel like just focus is one of the main things, honestly. Like, focus. If you just like, if you know what you want to do and you just focus on it, you can just start knocking out the core things, instead of being like, I feel like that's what kind of the point I'm trying to get at. I feel like there's almost like two levels of things. There's like, oh, like I gotta fix my emotions before I get to the thing. And then it's like, no, just do the thing, like if I had $1 billion right now and I could hire anyone or whatever, I still couldn't make the best video game ever, because I'm not that good of a designer. So I could just work right now on trying to improve my skills at that, like that's what I really should be doing. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. This is like a pointless thing and I'll stop ranting about this, but like, I don't know. I've been kind of just on this stupid idea recently that like a lot of people are really, really into like internet marketing these days, like almost anything, because social media is so viral. And I could be totally like talking out of my ass with this, because obviously virality is a huge multiplier to your business and stuff, for any business. But like, I feel like so many people spend so much effort like trying to divine the algorithm that they could be spending that time getting better at their craft. And I almost wonder which is better. I almost wonder if the craft could possibly be way better, only purely because I feel like very little, small percentage of the market is heavily invested in their craft. I feel like most of the whole market in the whole world right now is invested in getting attention versus being really good, But I don't know. I could be totally wrong about that.
Well, I can comment on that, and I'd like to get Jared's opinion as well. So I really like what Jeff Bezos said about that particular topic, which was he made Amazon because capitalism prior to that was, 10 I think it was 30% on how good you could be at your craft or a product could be, and 70% of how loud you could shout about it. And he made Amazon, he said, to invert that ratio. So the intermediary, the platform between, is what siphons or like puts a chokehold on that value, if that makes sense. So in other words, if you have a hat maker in Boondock, wherever in middle America, and that town is only 100 people wide, well, now you put that guy's going to go out of business because there's not enough, on the receiving end. But you now put him up on Amazon and he can get 5-star reviews from all over the country / world. Now it's a different story. But I have found in my business that it is still a healthy ratio, like a hefty percentage of the pie is communicating the value. I wish it wasn't, but it is. I wish I could just say, well, hey, I'm the best that there ever was, but I still have to prove that in some way. And you have to earn the proof. Like, you got to get somebody to come in and incentivize them to come in. But Jared, from your experience of running your business, what percentage would you say is marketing versus the craft?
That's that's a tough one. Marketing is huge. And that's Jace, my brother. He's like the man with that. I think, like, some of the guys like the Russell Brunsons and Alex Hermosis and Frank Kearns and Dan Kennedys and all these guys. He went down the rabbit hole with those guys. But it's like you have to advertise, you have to market. We do that, advertise on Facebook and stuff like that. But you get a lot of leads in from that, but you got to close them, right? And when you're in sales, like, I feel like, I don't know how the art business works, but I feel like you're the one who they're buying art from, and like they like Ray, so like you turn that on, like you be the best salesman, if you want to call it that, but really it's just relating to them, getting them to like you, getting them to trust you. And like the jiu-jitsu, it doesn't even have to be the best, right? Like the place that I left before, the coach is way better than I am. He's more accomplished. He has more accolades and everything. But, I'm the guy. Like, I'm the one who signs people up. They see my face. They like the way I talk. So I get a lot of great reviews on that. And obviously, it's like my jiu-jitsu is good and everything. I have a really good product there. But, it's the people business, right? Sales, same with art. Like, I know the art is kind of the product, but you're the one who convinces them to buy it. And really, it's because they like you in the end. So that's what I
get. And you've got likability on steroids, dude. I hope you're not on steroids, but you've got likability on steroids, dude. So
at least somebody likes me.
Well, and to this point, because let's break that down. It's a really interesting topic. The human brain is so complex that oftentimes it actually does not know what it wants. So, for instance, let's say in jiu-jitsu, probably what a lot of people think they want is, I want to become the best at jiu-jitsu. That's probably not what they want, right? Probably what they want is to, like, I'm going to guess here, right? Like anybody wants. I want to enjoy the process of the journey of acquiring sufficient skills, something like that. It's kind of like everybody says, oh, I want to be the best at this thing. It's like, oh, you want to be Tiger Woods. Do you really know what expense that is going to cost you to become Tiger Woods? Or do you just want to be really good in front of your golf buddies? So, and I think that's where marketing really helps. Like, really good marketers who I would say, like, who are authentic and sincere and not complete dirtbags, they understand human psychology to a degree that probably the end consumer does not. It's like, hey, I'll put you on a path of progress, and you're not going to become, I don't know, Hoist Gracie overnight. But you know what's going to happen? I promise, if you show up a few days a week, you are going to get a lot better than where you started. And I promise you're going to feel really good in so doing that. Jared, what's your perspective on that?
Yeah, that's kind of one thing that I tell people. So, like, I try to tell them, show up at least 3 days a week to train, and if, when people are on the fence about signing up, sometimes I'll make like a trial deal for them, like a 1-month trial. And I'm like, if you come here 3 days a week for a month, and at the end of the month, you meet with me, and if you tell me if your life hasn't improved in some way, maybe like you're still not very good at jiu-jitsu, you're still getting smashed, but it's like, are you feeling worse about yourself, other areas in life? So yeah, I think like you got to show up, like you got to get it done. And yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Phil. I wish there was this idea of the whole Jiro dreams of sushi, where you're just the top dude on the planet, and then you get a Netflix special made after you when you're 97 years old, that kind of thing. Um, I would also say that if you, if you can appreciate the craft of marketing, I think then you're an absolute killer. If you can be the artist and a craftsperson in your actual core domain, and then figure out a way to really enjoy the craft of marketing, man, I think it makes you an absolute killer. And Phil, I'm not saying you, I'm just saying the general you. Phil, what's your take?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've always just been kind of very pretentious about like marketing. Like I have such a hard time with marketing because like if by marketing we really mean, and not just like giving lip services to this, but just really mean this is what my product is. Do you want it? Period. Then sure, I'm down. I'm down for that. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, even that I have a hard time with. Like I really want this fairy tale pretend lifestyle that's impossible of just making stuff and people finding it and wanting it. But that's completely unrealistic. But um, any amount of like pretense of like pretending like it is something when it's not necessarily that, it just, I don't know, it drives me insane. I just,
Oh, I agree with that.
there's this game that I've been following the development of on Twitter recently, and they've made $90,000 in the last 3 days since release, and it just makes me depressed because it's not like it's some offensively bad game, but I know that it's a fairly vapid game, and they're just very good. They were very good at marketing it, and it just makes me really kind of angry because that's what most of the internet is. It's just like everything's become a thumbnail these days. It's just like the most exciting thumbnail ever, and you click on the video and it's just bullshit. And I don't know, it just really is upsetting to me. And I feel like I'm doing that anytime I'm saying anything other than exactly what the thing is. But saying exactly what it is not a good sales pitch most of the time.
Well, and let me throw a little bit of a curveball here for something that Ray was saying earlier. I'm reading this book called the 10x is easier than 2x. I'm almost done. Really good book. And the coach in there talks about focusing on the gap versus the gain and where do you land. And Jared, by the way, yeah, I follow all those guys. Kind of have to hold my nose through some of them, some of these marketers, because
Yeah.
they do land in the camp that some of them land in the camp that Phil is referring to. Where it's just hyperbole to the point where you're just lying. But I'm going to Alex Hormozi's headquarters in next month.
Nice. Yeah, we love him.
For a meeting there. Yeah. So I'll let you know what I'll take a lot of notes, and I'm going there for 2 days. I'll let you know what we come back with.
Hell yeah.
Or if you guys want to go, we can meet there. But anyway, this idea of the gap versus the gain, and the gap is the distance between where you are now and that false horizon, right? That the horizon moves away from you as you move towards it. Or are you focusing on the gain, the progress that you've gained from where you've come from? And I know we've talked about this in the past, but I think that's a really simple way of thinking about, like, are you in the gap? Or are you in the gain right now? So Ray, let me throw you the mic. Is your mindset generally focused on the gain, which is where you've come from, or is the gap of this like?
It's the gap, dude. It's the gap, and then I think that is that ties into the mood. And it's. I mean, I don't know if I'm communicating this in a universal way that everyone experiences, but it's like there are times when the gap shouts so much louder than the gain, right? And and I think that there are things I must do in order to balance out that messaging, right? Because that head trash, as we call it, right, Wes, is like that head trash makes myself my biggest obstacle. not the fact that the stuff I'm selling nobody wants, not the fact that interest rates are high or whatever, right? It's like that head trash creates this kind of electric fence around my progress. And so again, talking about the gap and the gain, and I think journaling it, and like I'm writing all this down, and like if I were to journal, like, and I think I'll do this after our call or maybe in the middle of it right now. If I just journal the progress I've made over the last year on my business, I think that would really cool off the kind of the worry, stress, head trash, right? Because there'll be a lot of gain in there.
I completely agree. And if we understand, Jared, getting back to like human psychology, marketing, et cetera, that, humans are hardwired for negativity, to avoid pain, to avoid death, et cetera. So the default phase of the human mind is to worry about the gap. So I think we actually have to do work to focus on the gain. But Jared, what's your take?
Yeah. I know, like, I'm definitely rooted in negativity to a degree. I see problems first. Like whenever we're going to do something new, switch things up a little bit with how we're teaching a class, like I always just zero in on how things are going to go wrong, and it's like you do need to do that to a degree, like identify the problems. But yeah, I'm usually just like self-belief, like if you have a good product, you believe in yourself, and it's like you're selling something good too, Ray. It's like you like the thing you're selling. So sometimes when you have to do these marketing things or these sales techniques, some of them sometimes seem a little sleazy, maybe a little misleading. Try not to do that stuff. But even if it is, you're using some tactics with people, it's like you're selling them something good that will benefit them. You're not trying to cheat them on a car that's broken down or sell them meth or something. It's like you're selling them art that, benefits them in their life, makes them feel better. So like know that, and it doesn't even, maybe it's not even like the piece of art that you yourself like the most. Like when I teach jiu-jitsu, I show moves that I don't even use and moves that like I might even not be very good at, but I know that other people like them and they work for them. So I sell that to people. And it's like you're selling something good. If you're selling something good, like you can feel good about it.
Yeah. Phil, let me throw you the mic, brother. What's your take? Gap versus gain?
I'm not even super clear what that is. Is that difference between velocity and
No, I think honestly,
Okay.
it's just a different take on glass half full or glass half empty. So the gain would be, are you focused on where you've come from and the progress that you've made? The gap would be, are you focused on the distance between where you are and what you have not accomplished yet? So it's like, yeah, a guy says,
Well,
yeah, I make 100,000, but my best friend growing up makes 1 million, right? It's like, yeah, but you came from zero, you made 100 grand.
yeah, I'm definitely focused on I guess the gap. I'm still not, I think I get it, but yeah, like, yeah, it's very, very, very frustrating because, I know that I haven't worked very hard at all on my supposed life goal of making video games. In the last 10 years, I've not worked nearly as hard as I could have. And it's very frustrating. Every time I hear, everyone always says, 10 years, I'm like, great. So now it's 43 when I'll be successful instead of 33. That's pretty sick. So, it's hard not to be very frustrated about that.
Well, Phil, to that point, do you think, I think there's a tendency for us to read biographies, etc., and we almost, for that particular topic, we almost take it literally. It's like, oh, 10 years of execution. But do we really think that guy or gal, right, who's executing was executing 24/7 a day for 10 years? Or was it more likely that there was beautifully chaotic, very similar to the experiences that we have? Like sometimes you're all in, sometimes you're not in at all. Sometimes the majority of the time you're not in at all. And then but you stuck with it and you re-engage on occasion, and then eventually that frequency becomes more dense.
Yeah, I can see that. I just think, First of all, I'm not at zero. That's complete bullshit. I'm way ahead of zero. I don't know what I'm at, but um,
It's the first compliment I ever heard you give yourself. That's a Phil compliment for sure. I'm not at zero. But that's the first time, honestly, dude. Like seriously, and Phil, you know that, right? Like very rarely are you even willing to admit that you're not at zero.
dude, I was thinking about that. Man, fuck. Every time it's so hard for me to fucking come on these calls and not start self-destructing. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just so hard for me to live in the moment, and be focused on right now. Because like I've been thinking about so much in a lot. I've been working this shit ass terrible fucking new job, and so I'm on my weekend right now, and yesterday I just wasted all day fucking going on YouTube and shit, and I was really just spiraling about it, and um just been thinking so much about like how just regrets and shit, and like it's just crazy how I'm just addicted to thinking like, man, back when I had that thing, if I had just done this, I'd be in such a good situation right now. But then when I think about that enough, I finally, after fucking hours of spiraling like that, I think like just have like a moment of self awareness for once and think like, well, that's the exact same way I can think about right now in relation to the
Yeah.
future. But when I do that, I don't feel the same way at all. And it's obvious to me that the reason I don't feel the same, like when I think about the past, thinking like if I had just done this, I would be in this great situation right now. The reason why I don't feel anxiety about having to do those things is because I'm fantasizing that in the fantasy I've already done the work, right? And if I think about it right now, I have to start doing the work right now for that fantasy to even happen in my mind. Like, oh, 10 years from now, I could have, like recently, I've been really, really wishing I had a dirt bike, right? And I'm like so far financially in such a shit situation. I'm like years away from being able to ever be able to responsibly spend money on a dirt bike and take and whatever that like it's just depressing to even think about like how far away I am from such a small kind of a goal. And like I don't know why I'm not excited to think about that like if I did work right now in a year or whatever, it wouldn't even be that long, maybe a year, I could pay off some debt and then maybe buy a dirt bike and have some fun with it. Like it's just I don't know why. It's just fucking crazy. Like I could just go on for an hour about how stupid I feel like thinking that. I think like I'm 33 years old. Like I'm already like a fucking fat old dumbass, like buying a dirt bike. Like what am I having a midlife crisis at 33? Like what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, I could just keep going like this for another 20 minutes. It's insane, man. Like, sorry, I don't want to
Ray,
fucking spiral out.
no, you're all good. You're all good, brother. Ray, let's throw you the mic. Let's get your perspective.
Man, you're never too
or
old
at least let's
to do
hate
anything.
you even more. So wherever you want to take this.
Like you're never too old to do anything, dude. Like, I'd get on a dirt bike right away if my fear didn't give me instant diarrhea. So, I mean, maybe I'd like strap on, I'd just reach into the closet and get one of my adult diapers. I got the Costco box. And then get on that dirt bike. Like, and yeah, dude. I don't hear anything wrong with what you're saying, and a midlife crisis like does not occur when you're 50 or like not knowing like, and I think about this a lot, not knowing like what's next is just part of being grown up, like it's frustrating, but like I don't know where my next dollar is going to come from. Like I don't know if I'm doing the right career or if I have to go work at a desk somewhere. I don't know if my marriage is going to reconcile. Like I don't, and living in the unknown. Sometimes I enjoy it. Most of the time, it's terrifying. And if we had a crystal ball, we'd probably be even more miserable, right? And so that's just Jared. What do you think of that? That's just the human condition where we have to kind of learn how to sit with these uncomfortable thoughts and the not knowing.
Yeah, that's the worst when you're like kind of in limbo or whatever, like a purgatory thing or something. Like you just don't know what's going on, you know. Like when you have a direction and you have a goal and you have a path, like things seem clear, you know. And there's always going to be a monkey wrench and some speed bumps in there, but like you have to define like your goal, where are you trying to get to, and how do you get there, and then how did the other people that did it before you, what did they do? Listen to what people that are, I guess if you want to call it, more successful than you in the field that you're in, how did they do it? It's not impossible. And plenty of people do it like coming from basically nothing, you know? So like if you have something that you're passionate about, like go for it, talk to people that have done it, and yeah, you'll get there. So.
Yeah, and I want to say this. I don't know if this will resonate with anybody, but for me, I think you know how they say like a man's best friend is his dog. I think there's actually a reason for that. It's like as long as like as long as you go to hang out with the dog doesn't judge you. It's right. It's a healthy relationship in my opinion. Like it gives you happiness in return in exchange, you know, for the work of picking up its shit, etc. Um, I think there's an element for me that it's like similar to like all a man needs is his dog sort of a thing. For me, that's a craft. And it's like all a man needs is a relationship to his craft. And even if it's just thinking about his craft, which Phil, this is not a recommendation for you, it's just the way that I think about my craft. It's like, man, what a blessing it is to work on something that am intrinsically motivated and in love with, regardless of the returns from it. Right. Like even if you paid me, I couldn't stop myself from doing it. So I think that there's that. And it's not that that path is completely euphoric and not fraught with obstacles, but it's kind of like the puppy. You know, it's like as long as I have my craft, I'm good. You know, and the rest of the world can beat me down or whatever the fuck is going to come at me. But if I can just go in my small corner space of the world and work on my craft, then I'm fucking happy. You know, Ray, can you relate it all to that?
100%. It's like the grass. It's like a grass is greener thing. Like while I'm my own boss and pursuing like my craft, practicing my craft and pursuing my career independently, I pine for the security of that. You know, working for the man, like working in a toll booth or something, where it's like a steady income, right? And then if I'm in that toll booth, you know, I'm complaining about the fumes from the cars and the guaranteed lung cancer, and wishing I had the autonomy of running my own business or being an entrepreneur, which is what Phil and I are, and also. But and again, Wes, as you know, one of the challenges that and we talked about this with Jared last week. One of the challenges that all four of us face is that we are the technician who knows how to create the product, right? Whether that's generating wealth for your clients, generating an art collection for me, creating a game, or teaching jujitsu. There is the technician level, but then there's also the managerial and entrepreneurial level, where how do you make a living doing this, and how do you operate a business doing this? And and so we have to just master those three simultaneous moving vehicles, and nobody said it was easy.
Yeah, Phil, throw you the mic.
What Kaizen said, you know, I'll be happy when I achieve this or whatever. Like being happy now, like is like the ultimate, you know, version of what I was saying earlier, like about, you know, trying to get trying to, you know, get rid of the mental hang-ups that you're making up as excuses in your mind, and just working on the specific things that will improve your craft or whatever, instead of all these bullshit things that are fake. Like it being happy is like the craziest. I feel like, I don't know. Yeah, being happy like right now, it's like you could be happy right now. You could be satisfied right now. Or not satisfied, but you could be you don't need to mentally torment yourself all the time. But so fucking hard not to. I was thinking about that a lot recently just because this guy went on Joe Rogan that Matt McCusker and Shane talked about a long time ago on the podcast. Like in the early episodes of their podcast, Matt found out about this guy, some famous actor. He was on Empire and some other shows. He was in some movies, I guess, called Terrence something. I forget. He just went on Joe Rogan a couple of days ago, and he's had these ridiculous math theories. Like he thinks that 1 × 1 = 2, and he like went in front of like a hall full of Oxford. Like they invited him to Oxford, and he was talking to like Oxford students and explaining to them how math 1 × 1 = 2. It's like it's like very clear. It's like extremely clear. He just literally doesn't understand how multiplication works. He's saying $1 × $1. And it's like, dude, you can't multiply 2 objects together. That's not what multiplication is. Like, and Matt when Matt was talking about him on the podcast, he always like seems to get into these people that are like ridiculous and weird and wacky.
Oh yeah,
because he thinks he loves them. Like he really seems to have like genuine like love, or like he gets a lot of joy out of it. And
oh, dude, you have no idea.
I know like he talks about all these like crazy people like on the podcast, and he loves them so much. And so many people that I listen to on podcasts are like that. They like really like enjoy this stuff, and like I enjoy the novelty of it. But when I was listening to Terrence on JRE, I was just like, I legitimately hate this guy. Like he's such a fucking asshole for not understanding multiplication and getting up in front of Oxford students and explaining to them for like 30 minutes how he doesn't understand multiplication. Like, dude, go to Wikipedia, you fucking jackass. And like that's my attitude. Is like fuck this guy. That's like my attitude. Is like I literally I'm like angry about it, and it's like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, why am I angry about it? Why does it make me angry? Like, I'm actually pissed off that this guy's being a dumbass. And it's like, man, I gotta fix that. Like, it's such a fucked up like attitude, and like it's such a compulsive thing for me. Because my parents are super like, I totally got this from my parents. Like, my parents are so like that. They're so like negative and angry all the time. And I don't know. I don't need to meditate or whatever. I don't know. It's very deeply ingrained into me to just be like, it's very frustrating. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I'm curious, Bill. I want to pass the mic around here to you guys. I have found, and I've been guilty of for sure, of the amount of times where my emotions want to distract themselves with something else other than the work. It is basically infinite and comes in multiple different types of varieties. Paradoxically, on the other side of work on my craft, I have found infinite joy. Like every single time I work on my craft, and I'm not speaking hyperbole here. 100% of the time that I'm working on my craft, even if I'm not happy doing it, like if I'm facing a challenge, I'm still in love with it, if that makes sense. And my mind tries to avoid working on the craft basically every single minute of every single day. But the weird paradox is it only takes me like 3 to 5 minutes to overcome that barrier to entry. Does that make sense? Jared, do you have that experience of like where you have this resistance to working on your craft and your brain wants to get distracted with whatever, YouTube, Instagram, the drama of the day, and your brain assumes it's going to take 5 hours to get into flow state or whatever, but after 5 minutes of sitting down, you're now immersed in the work. Does that make sense? What's your experience with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are plenty of days where I don't want to go to work. I don't, I have intros coming in and I'm like, look at all this. But once I get in, I start doing things, I'm good to go. One of the main things I have to do is like, if I'm when I wake up, I have to get down. I have to start my stretching routine. Maybe put on a podcast that I like, but otherwise, like I just start going down the rabbit hole of looking at other things that aren't doing anything for me. So figure out the routine that you know makes you feel good, and you got to start your morning right. I think like that is the best way to do things. Like the way you start your morning will set the tone of your day, which then sets the tone for your life. So like start off on the right foot. You won't always want to. There are some days where I eventually look and I'm like, I've been laying down for an hour since I woke up. You know, I haven't like stretched or anything yet. I haven't even like made my breakfast. I've just been doing nothing. And then I get down, get into the routine, and then I'm off and running. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And then Ray, what's your comment on that? Like how often does your brain want to accept the resistance? And then how short of a time frame is it to where actually when you actually start doing it, where the resistance is gone and now you're just immersed in the work?
Again, it's like someone just mentioned bad sleep, and so like again, it's like something like bad sleep or my depression kind of ratcheting up will create a longer lag time, right, between doing the work and feeling the benefit. I think that's what comes to mind just at the top of my head. But in general, it doesn't take very long at all. For example, the banter with Phil took about 3 seconds to totally reset the trajectory of my mood today, right? And I'm talking like 4 hours of being grumpy, right? Even though I got lots of sunshine, I walked about 10,000 steps, helped out my mom with something, was of service, drank lots of water. This connection, really, for lack of a better word, just there, totally reset the energy. Now, Phil and I might return to being grumpy, and all we get is this 1 hour of feeling good today. That might be the way it is. Otherwise, like you and Jared are talking, if we can summon the kind of motivation to do the rest of the things on our to-do list, whether that's practicing our craft, do a learning segment, meditate, movement, goal review, that can, the dividends are paid almost instantly, right? Think about the gym. You show up from the moment I'm at the house to the gym, it's a battle of like, how do I talk myself out of this? It's like going to sign up for the army or something. It's like, wait, should I shoot myself in the foot? Should I claim insanity? Should I get ISIS rules tattooed on me, right? And but then once I get in there, it's like, okay, I'm here, I'm with my tribe. And once I lift, I'm like, look at me, I'm lifting, right? So like it pays kind of ego dividends right away. And then after the workout, it's like, So just to answer your question in one word, which I could have done from the beginning, immediately.
Phil, do you have a similar experience or no?
Yeah, and it's very irritating when I've been, because I'm so fucking fearful of things for no reason, and I'll put things off that I should have done. Like work I don't want to do on a video game, I'll put it off for months sometimes, and then it takes like half an hour and I'm done with it. It's just insane that I put it off that much. But yeah, even daily stuff. I'm glad Jared said routine. That's something I really need to just get on top of. And routine is probably just the hugest part of being able to just walk straight through all these problems of just being like, you just change from one thing to the next because it's your routine. So you just get used to it. And I need to get more serious about that. Yeah, I'm wondering, does anyone want to try daily meditation again? I noticed last time a few months ago, we were doing daily meditation, and like one day and no one ever mentioned it again for some reason. It just kind of disappeared. But let's do it every day. If anyone wants to do it, I'm going to do it every day.
So what do you want for the accountability? To take a picture, some sort of representation of the meditation and then post it to Discord?
Yeah, something. Yeah, just post something every day.
Yep, I'm down. Which, by the way, thank you to everybody who's posting their food and everything. I hope it's helping me. And Phil asked about my my sandwich last night, and it was absolutely fucking delicious. Just real quick on this recipe, I got cranberry pecan sourdough bread from Whole Foods, which is freaking amazing. Cut up one slice of it, and then homemade pecan butter, which is just like you heat up the pecans, you throw it in a blender, you know, for 5 minutes, and then it's just butter. And then mushed, frozen, heated up strawberries to turn into strawberry jam, and then a little bit of olive oil in a pan, and pan fry bananas and cinnamon, and it's fucking delicious. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, if anybody wants to take that recipe, it's an unbelievable dessert, and there's no sugar added, quite literally.
Elvis's last meal, doesn't it, Phil?
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. And then I put it on a nice little pretty breadboard with some rosemary sprig, just to make myself feel better. It's amazing. But anyway, final words of wisdom. Ray, let me throw you the ball, buddy.
Yeah, Kaizen says get one thing done, and it's building momentum to other stuff. And so, yeah, I would just say, yeah, just do the scorecard, guys. You know, sleep, check your weight, water, active love, goal review, learning, journaling, movement, and meditation. Just do one of those things, and then try to do a second one. And before you know it, you've got a lot of things to be proud of that you've done in a day. And you guys mentioned Jiro dreams of sushi. And Phil, you mentioned Norm Macdonald. And I heard someone say that their favorite Norm Macdonald joke is, and like, now let me know if you know this one, Phil.
I already know.
The sequel to Jiro Dreams of Sushi is?
Jiro dreams of acid reflux. Nightmares of acid. I don't know. I don't like telling Norm jokes. I can't tell, like, you know, but Jiro dream and Jiro night. Yeah, I super fucked it up. Jiro nightmares of acid reflux or something, whatever.
Yeah,
anyways,
there you go.
I did it. Great job. Yeah, my words of wisdom is I'm gonna get the fuck off YouTube because that shit is driving me insane. I don't know why I'm still on that shit.
That's final words. Love it. Jared, let me throw it over to you, brother. Final words of wisdom, pal.
Start the day right, man. It's the best thing to do. Like, you got to get the ball rolling. Like, do something that makes you feel good. Like, if you are starting your day with like the thing that you know you shouldn't be doing, and everybody knows what that is, don't do that. Get outside, eat something healthy, walk around. Even if you're not big on exercising, just go for a walk. Like, get out of the house. That's kind of, sometimes it's like a little prison for your mind or whatever is going on. Get out of there, change the scenery, and that should help.
Absolutely love it. Hell yeah. My final words of wisdom, bit of a curveball here. But I've been trying to up my food game to where it's like a ritual of me making it, hence like the pretty version of the toast and so on. And it's making me enjoy and appreciate my food a lot more. So it's like, if I'm going to have berries, I'm going to try like cutting them up and making them pretty, etc. Like, so it's elongating the food process and making me appreciate it more, and allowing less calories to go into my body just because of that like lengthening. So it's almost like the art of food making. So I'm just going off of this little side quest and seeing how that lands, but just sharing that if anybody resonates with that. But anyway, love you dudes. I will see you all on Friday. Later. And Ray, happy birthday midweek, my friend. It's on Wednesday, correct?
Happy birthday, Ray.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to make one of those prune sandwiches, Wes. What do you think of that?
All right, dudes. Love you guys. Later.
See you guys. Thanks.